marriage.
All right, babe, for this marriage moment, week of the question of the week or discussion of the week, we were reading an article here from Finance Buzz or whatever it is, and they have 14 reasons married couples should keep separate bank accounts. Now, 14 reasons. We're going to go over these 14 reasons. Now, I don't think as a married couple, you should have separate checking accounts or bank accounts.
Separate money, period. Like
these are not worldly. These are a worldly website that gives advice on finances and things like that. Well, this is where our world is right now.
Yeah.
And so we're going to go quickly through these 14 things and maybe make a few comments on it. But check out what the world is. The first thing is shocking is that 57% of married couples have separate bank accounts.
Right. Yeah.
57% have. So that is shocking in and of itself right there.
Yeah. That's really sad.
So let's go through these 14 really quickly. Number one
is no nitpicking each other's Amazon buys.
I think that is very shallow already. We're already in the shallow bit. So we're nitpicking. So marriage is a place where you have an opportunity to really get to know someone, connect with someone. You become one with someone.
Right.
And part of that is, getting to communicate about purchases and things
realizing
like that.
we both buy things differently, and
and if you have a problem,
okay. We need to talk about it. Yeah.
So, all right. So number two,
no secret spending, because it says 62% of married couples admitted to secret spending.
Well, and when you're sharing a bank account, I guess there could be a time for secret spending, but to have a separate bank account so you don't have it is a silly argument.
Right.
It's ridiculous. Okay. Number three,
save for your own individual goals.
Now, I really have a problem with this one because your own individual goals, you cease being I shouldn't say you cease being an individual. You are still an individual, but kind of the goal of marriage is that you become one. And so it's now our goals.
Right.
I don't have a goal. Now, I may have something where, like one of the examples or something like, get a boat or something like that.
Right.
And so maybe that's more something I would want, but hopefully you're on board with that, or maybe something that you want. And we work together for those goals. But to just say, I have an individual goal, you have an individual goal, and that's very, very shallow.
Yep, pretty much. Number 4 is what's mine stays mine. So I guess basically what I come to marriage with, I want to keep.
Right.
So
now that is, you're setting yourself up for separation and divorce. And by saying what's mine is mine, that is not gospel. That is not the Bible. That is not what marriage is intended for. What is mine is yours.
Right.
That's what the Bible teaches, is that it is now ours, no matter what it is. Now, to be fair, there's some things in our relationship that is mine and yours.
Right.
But for all intents and purposes, it is ours.
Yeah. Number 5 is it elevates gifting.
This is ridiculous. Now, if you feel like you have to gift someone, you could figure a way to do that, I'm sure. But we aren't really givers to each other. It's like, if I want to get something for you, I'll get it. If you want to get whatever, it's still nice. I don't care where the money comes from. If it's thoughtful and it's not absurd money, whatever. But to have separate accounts just so you can give a gift is a bad reason.
Well, if I buy you a gift and you're upset because I spent your money because you're the one that actually does make all the money, I feel like we have bigger problems.
Well, we have to discuss that too, is that most of the people in America have 2 income homes.
Right.
So this is why it's an issue. So you have, like, I have my money and you have your money. Well, we don't have 2 incomes. So it makes it a little bit easier to share money because, it's all mine, right? No, it's all ours.
Yeah.
But in most households, if you have 2 incomes coming in, there is that temptation. Well, this is my money and I can do with it what I will. And we'll talk about that more after we get done. So.
Then number 6 is build and maintain your own credit history.
Once again, for what purpose? Why not build and maintain yours together? Like, you've never had a credit history. Right? I don't think I have one right now. Yeah. But once again, why aren't we doing these things together? This is called marriage. Why did you even get married if you want to still be individuals?
Yep. Number 7 is both spouses come to understand finances.
Well, I think this is important no matter what. I think both spouses should have an understanding of finances, but why can't you do that together?
Yeah.
I think you should sit down and discuss a budget together and work on finances together and understand how to do that together. Even though you, most of the time, handle most of it, I still know what's going on.
Right.
So to me, that is a bad argument to have separate accounts.
Number 8 is you're used to financial independence.
You're used to financial independence. Well, guess what? You're used to all kinds of independence.
Right.
And when you come together, you have to learn to adjust. You know, it's like I have to learn to share now. I have to learn to be an adult. You know, come on, that's ridiculous.
Well, their reasoning is that people are getting married much older. So if I don't get married till I'm 30, 35, well, I'm used to that. So
okay,
all right,
whatever.
Number 9 is you have different spending habits.
Of course you do. And that's what makes the wonderful thing about marriage is you learn that, hey, my spouse might be a spender and I'm a saver, you know, as they always say, or both of you are spenders. And you have to figure that out. If that becomes a problem, you have to discuss that and go through with that. And if it becomes an issue, then you need to get someone to help you with that. But just to say, you know, I'm going to just do this on my own, and because I have different spending habits, I need my own account is ridiculous. I mean, we knew someone that had to borrow money from their spouse. Yeah. And then they had to pay him back and owe their spouse. That is, I can't even fathom what that even means.
All right, number 10, maintain your own identity.
I sound like a broken record here, but your identity is now with your spouse. Yes, you still have an individual identity. Sure, I am still Mike Charleston and you are still Sarah, but together we have an identity, and that's what I want to work on. I want to work that our identity is unified and not separate. I don't understand. Okay, so number 11.
Number 11, preparing for the worst case scenario.
Yeah, we're working to what they are talking about here. And what is the worst case scenario? A divorce? You know, that's got to be what it's talking about. And if I'm prepared, if I already have my little thing on the side here, and if something bad happen, I have it. I still have. I'm protecting myself. That's not faith and trust in your partner.
Yeah. Well, I guess maybe it could mean also death.
I guess, but if you have separate accounts, how are you going to get theirs?
Well, that's true. Yeah, so maybe not. Okay, number 12. This was my favorite one. Not really, but it's the worst one. Improve finances for your next marriage.
That is incredible. I mean, like I said, you already know where they're going with a lot of these. Right. It's about me. It's about myself. How do I protect me and myself and my stuff? And this just is blatant that you know, protect your finances for your next marriage. Improve your finances. Make sure you have a good credit score. So for your next marriage, how about you work on your current marriage?
Yeah.
Number 13.
Number 13, you can avoid an imbalance of power.
Well, once again, if you're discussing how the biblical principles where the man is a head of the home and the woman is not the head of the home, but she still has a voice in the relationship. The world doesn't see it that way, and so we both have power. Well, you can't have two CEOs. You know, you can't have two leaders. You're going to have problems, and so I want to discuss these things. I want us to be in agreement as much as possible. Yeah. But it just to say we have an imbalance of power because I control what we do. Well, if I'm already doing that, I'm probably a bad husband. But we discuss our purchases. We discuss where we're going to spend our money. Come on, man. The imbalance of power is weird. Okay, number 4.
And number 14 is a healthier marriage.
Well, that's their opinion. I don't know how they come to that conclusion. That's a healthier marriage. The more that we become one, the more that's healthy.
Yeah. Well, I will say that this is a lot of the articles I was reading about this topic. Most people do say we should have separate accounts on some level, and most marriages aren't happy, and half the marriages or whatever are ending in divorce. So I'm like, it's not working. So.
Well, on a practical, so if you're not a Christian, I could see how some of these things could make sense because I don't know if my wife's going to go out on me. I don't know if, what the next phase of my life is. So I need to prepare for the future for myself. But being a Christian, and if you want to do what the Bible teaches, and you have to trust your spouse. These are imperative things. You want to become one with your spouse. Now, if you have a 2-income home, this is where it gets a little tricky. Having a 1-income home almost forces you to become one with it, or else you're just a selfish jerk. Like it's my money and you can't have any of it. Well, that's selfish. But if there's two incomes being brought into the home, you really have to work together, because
Yeah.
the temptation is, this is my money, this is your money. And so I guess that's where a lot of this is coming in. But it should be the attitude of, hey, we are one unit and we're bringing money in together. And how can we use this to bring glory to God?
Yeah.
That is the Christian's perspective, should be the Christian's perspective. I'm just shocked at what the world is basically preparing and protecting yourself in case of divorce.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, that's where a lot of the marriages go. So it is
It makes sense in their
self-preservation.
system, the way that they work, that's what they would say.
Which
and
is sad.
And on another article, I know somebody I was reading, they were saying, well, on my first marriage, I did this, but on this marriage, I'm just like, well, I guess that's the way
Right.
it works. So, I mean, I get it. But for Christians, it ought not be.
No. God created marriage for a man and woman to come together and become one in physical, and sexual things, become one in mind and spirit, and in money and finances and
Right.
things.
Yeah.
This is not my house. This is our house.
Yeah.
These aren't my kids. They're our kids. This isn't my money. It's our money. We become one. We become one unit. Are there disagreements in how we spend money sometimes? Sure. But we talk about those things. We discuss those things. We become unified on those things, and we move on. But separating is just a recipe for separation in other areas. That's all. That's a practice for more separation. So that's my advice. That's what I think. This is the world's advice, and what the Bible teaches is that we're one. So go practice that.